Why did Jimin break down in tears the moment he landed in Korea, collapsing into Jungkook's arms in front of thousands of fans? What really happened in Paris that left the BTS member so emotional that even ARMY couldn't hold back their own tears? Watch closely, read carefully, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to join the global conversation about this heart-stopping moment that has shaken the fandom. What truly happened in Paris that could bring the ever-smiling, resilient Jimin to tears the second he stepped back into Korea? What unfolded behind closed doors during BTS's time in France that made even Jungkook's arms feel like the only safe place for him to collapse? These are the haunting questions flooding the internet right now after a breathtaking and emotional scene unfolded at Incheon International Airport. Cameras clicked, fans screamed, and hearts shattered when Jimin was spotted breaking down, holding on to Jungkook as though his life depended on it, while Jungkook tightly embraced him, whispering something that no one could quite hear. It was supposed to be just another glamorous return from Paris, a trip tied to fashion, brand events, and high-profile appearances, where the members of BTS had dazzled the world with their golden aura. Fans expected smiles, waves, and the usual calm airport fashion shots. Instead, they witnessed raw vulnerability, the kind that instantly silenced the crowd before erupting into sobs from ARMY, who couldn't contain themselves upon seeing Jimin's tears. Why now? Why Paris? Why did he wait until his feet touched Korean soil to finally let go? Some speculate that something happened behind the curtains in Paris, something hidden from the glossy media coverage and flashing lights. Was it exhaustion? The immense pressure of being in the global spotlight? Or perhaps an encounter in Paris that shook him deeper than fans could ever imagine? Others whisper that Paris may have forced Jimin to confront something personal, perhaps a moment of loneliness amidst the glamorous chaos, or even a decision he wasn't ready to share with the world yet. The mystery only deepens when we look at Jungkook's reaction, not just a comforting hug, but a protective embrace, as though shielding Jimin from the world. Jungkook didn't smile, didn't wave, didn't acknowledge the cameras. His entire being seemed focused only on Jimin, on keeping him upright, on making sure his tears fell on a shoulder that could bear the weight. The crowd at Incheon felt eerily quiet at first, watching the scene unfold in disbelief. Then slowly, sobs erupted from fans who had never seen their idol so visibly broken. Phones shook in trembling hands as ARMY captured the moment, some even lowering their devices because they couldn't bring themselves to watch Jimin cry through a lens. Fans cried with him, calling out his name, whispering words of comfort through tears, knowing he couldn't possibly hear them, yet hoping their love could somehow reach him in that fragile moment. And so the questions grow louder. What truly happened in Paris? Did something go wrong during their schedule? Was there an overwhelming confrontation with the reality of fame? Or was it a personal heartbreak, hidden away from the cameras until the safety of home allowed the floodgates to open? Could it be that the City of Light, where BTS was celebrated like royalty, also held shadows that weighed too heavily on Jimin's heart? And if so, what role did Jungkook play in holding those shadows back, in becoming the anchor that kept Jimin from drifting too far? The emotional weight of that scene has ignited speculation worldwide. Fans are dissecting every second of airport footage, every glance, every whispered word between Jimin and Jungkook. Some say they saw Jungkook's lips moving, whispering reassurance, perhaps saying, "It's okay, you're home now." Others believe he said nothing, that his embrace alone carried the message that no words could ever capture. Whatever the truth, the sight of Jungkook clutching Jimin so protectively has sparked an outpouring of emotions across social media, with fans expressing both worry and admiration for the bond these two share. It raises another haunting question. Is this the cost of global fame? The glitz, the glamour, the endless adoration, all hiding the human reality of exhaustion, vulnerability, and moments when even the strongest smile can no longer hold back the tide of emotions. Jimin, who has always carried himself with such grace, who has always gifted ARMY his laughter and warmth, reminded the world in that moment that idols are not untouchable. They too break, they too cry, they too need someone to hold them when the weight is too much. And Jungkook, with his steady embrace, proved that no matter how chaotic the world gets, there is still sanctuary in friendship, in brotherhood, in love unspoken yet deeply felt. So what happened in Paris? Was it exhaustion, a heartbreak, a hidden storm we'll never see in headlines? Or was Paris simply the breaking point after years of holding it all together? Fans may never know the full truth, but what they do know is that when Jimin cried, they cried with him. When Jungkook held him, they felt comforted too, as if reminding everyone that even in pain, even in tears, BTS are never truly alone, because ARMY stands with them. And maybe that's the most powerful part of this story. Not just the mystery of Paris, not just the heartbreak of Jimin's tears, but the unity it sparked, the reminder that behind every idol is a human heart, and behind every tear is a story that deserves to be met with compassion, not speculation. Still, the questions linger like shadows. What happened in Paris, Jimin? Why did the city of light leave such darkness in your eyes? And will the answers ever come? Or will they remain locked away between you and Jungkook, sealed in the embrace that silenced an entire airport? One thing is certain. The world is watching, waiting, and holding its breath. And until the truth is revealed, ARMY will continue to replay that moment, searching for clues in the way Jimin trembled, in the way Jungkook held on, in the tears that refused to stop even as flashes blinded them. A mystery that started in Paris has now arrived in Korea, and it has left an indelible mark on the hearts of millions. What if Paris was not only the city of light for Jimin and Jungkook, but also the city of shadows that tested their strength in silence? What really happened under the dazzling chandeliers of Dior's fashion show, behind backstage doors where cameras could not follow, and in the quiet hotel rooms where the weight of the world finally pressed down too heavily on Jimin's chest? These are not just idle questions. They are the storm churning in the hearts of millions of fans who watched the heartbreaking scene at Incheon Airport unfold. A moment so raw that no scripted drama could compare. The contrast was startling. Just days earlier, Paris had been a spectacle of beauty. Jimin and Jungkook, both dressed in golden Dior suits that shimmered under the flashing lights, commanded the runway of Global Fashion Week with an aura that silenced the crowd. Social media exploded, praising them as kings of the night. Golden boys who had redefined what it meant to shine. The world saw perfection. The flawless smiles, the confident strides, the luxurious glow. But perhaps that golden glow masked something else. A truth darker and heavier. A truth that Paris itself seemed to hold hostage. Some eyewitnesses whispered that Jimin appeared more reserved in Paris than usual. Yes, he smiled, yes, he waved. But the sparkle in his eyes seemed different, softer, tinged with something unspoken. Could it be the weight of exhaustion? Could it be loneliness hidden beneath the glamour? Or was there something more? Something that Paris revealed to him? Something that shattered the carefully built walls of idol life? Fans began to notice the subtle changes. The moments when Jimin's gaze seemed to drift far away during interviews. The fleeting expression of vulnerability when the cameras weren't directly on him. At the time, it seemed small, almost ignorable. But looking back now, after his tearful return to Korea, every frame feels like a clue. Every silence like a scream no one heard. And then there was Jungkook, always by his side, always watching with protective eyes. In Paris, fans noted how often Jungkook leaned closer, how he seemed hyper-aware of Jimin's presence, as though anticipating something. Was Jungkook already aware of the storm brewing inside his hyang? Was he preparing himself for the moment when Jimin's emotions would finally spill over? In Paris, he too dazzled with his charm, his golden suit, his effortless confidence. But behind that confidence was there also a readiness, a quiet promise that if Jimin fell, he would be there to catch him? The answer came not in Paris, but the second the two set foot back in Korea. As the automatic doors at Incheon Airport slid open, and as the roar of fans' cheers filled the air, Jimin's mask finally broke. He stumbled into Jungkook's arms, burying his face against his shoulder, tears streaming freely, unstoppable, undeniable. It was a scene that stunned everyone into silence before erupting into chaos. The flashes continued, but this time they were not about fashion or glamour. They were about capturing heartbreak, about freezing the moment when vulnerability overwhelmed even the brightest star. And in that moment, Jungkook transformed. No longer just the golden boy of Paris, no longer just a fashion icon. He became a shield. His arms tightened around Jimin, his posture firm, his gaze cold to the world but soft toward the man in his embrace. What did he whisper into Jimin's ear? Fans are desperate to know. Was it words of comfort? A reminder that he was safe? Was it encouragement? a secret only the two of them could share.